They will be in action this Saturday versus SMU, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. Thanks for joining us. Please give us your thoughts on the Tigers so far this season.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First of all, yeah, we're playing inspired basketball. I mean, we haven't played as consistent as I want to play. We're small. We play small a lot, and the last 3 or 4 games we've been out rebounding, but we play so hard and we turn people over. But as an overall grade, I would give us probably a C+ on where we are right now, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
Thank you, Coach. And a reminder to our participants, please star 1 to ask questions of Coach Hardaway, and we will open it up at this time.
We will take our first question from Don Wade with the Daily Memphian. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Penny. You've mentioned the rebounding and effort at times this season with your guys, and I'm just curious to what extent you think the rebounding disparity is related to effort, and to what extent it's maybe more not understanding that, if you hearken back to a great rebounder like a Dennis Rodman or something, he brought effort, but he also kind of had rebounding moves, so to say. And if there's also kind of a learning curve on the rebounding thing.
Yeah, I think just listening to Coach Dooley talk about Jaden Garner, he basically just said it all. You have to have a motor for it. You got to anticipate the bounce, and you got to out-hustle people for the ball. I mean, the ball isn't going to just fall right into your hands. And a lot of times we boxed out and still lost the rebound. So it just takes more than just, boxing out. You got to hustle. You got to go get it. You got to read the bounce and things of that nature. And looking at our films, a lot of teams are shooting a lot of threes, and we're going into the paint to try to get the basketball. And the ball is bouncing back out towards the free throw line and further out. And we just have to adjust and kind of read the bounce better and rebound outside of our areas. And we're struggling. We've been struggling in that area for the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Was there a time when rebounding, again, to bring up Dennis Rodman, but it was almost like he made rebounding glamorous, 20 years ago or whatever it was. So from a coaching standpoint, do you guys need a big-time rebounder at the NBA level to kind of make it cool to be a dominant rebounder again?
I just think any coach would love anybody that loves to rebound the basketball, but rebounding is in you. I heard Charles Barkley say it forever. At 6'6", it didn't matter how tall he was playing against 7-footers. It was what was in his chest, what was in his heart, and his passion for going to get the rebound. And that's what Dennis Rodman had. Dennis Rodman wanted to rebound the basketball. He made that a priority. And a lot of these kids, that's the last thing on their mind is rebounding. They want to score. They want the glamorous stuff. And rebounding is dirty and nasty. So that's the part that a lot of kids don't want to do.
Thank you.
We will take our next question from Taylor Eldridge with the Wichita Eagle.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking my question. I know Wichita State is kind of in the rear-view mirror, but if you could kind of call back on how they use Marcus McDuffie and what kind of impressed you about his game. And it seems like they're using him as a screener to kind of get him open instead of bringing him off screens. What makes him so dangerous in that scenario?
Yeah, that he can do multiple things. I think that that's something that I did when I played. I tried to screen a lot to try to cause confusion and make the team think that the play wasn't for me. He's a fantastic player coming off screens. He's a fantastic player screening and then, ducking back in for the ball. He moves well without the ball. He shoots it pretty well, and tough shots, tough contested shots that he makes. And he's been doing that for a while. But, yeah, they do a great job of trying to maneuver him because the team is so young and the team is so new. They got to find different ways to be creative to get him shots. And I'm very impressed with his game, seeing him in that one game. I mean, I watched him play last year and the year before. But this year he has a lot on his shoulders. And for him to have to come out and still get 18, 19 points to lead the team, to try to get some victories is a heavy job for him this year. But he's doing it. He's bringing it every night. And, it's just the record doesn't indicate how well they really played. They've had some rough games. They played well at our spot. Of course, they were up against Temple. And then going to Houston is a tough task within itself. But he's playing really well, though.
Yeah, and he actually said after the game that, he he loved watching you play growing up. And I was just curious, from opposing players, is that something that you've ever got, before the game, after the game, that kids that are playing in the game, they kind of looked up to you like when they were growing up and becoming basketball players?
Yeah, after the games, maybe in handshake line or even after the game, walking out, kids said something to me about, you were one of my favorite players, or I love your game, or I still watch your game. That means a lot because, I tried to leave an impression on the game with a God-given talent that God gave me. But, yeah, he's a really unique player and has a good chance of making it on the next level.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
We'll take our next question from Brian Moss with TigerSportsReport.com.
Hey, Coach. Looking back from the first game of the season to now, what do you think your team has improved on the most?
We've been improving on a lot of things, but probably the most thing that we're getting a better understanding of who we are. We didn't have roles defined early on. Everybody was trying to find themselves and figure out where they fit in. I think now versus back then, I think we had 10 players that thought that they were the man on the team in the first game against Tennessee Tech. And now it's starting to kind of taper off and understand who needs the ball, moving without the ball. We had really poor shot selection early on. Now we have better shot selection. So those are the things. But the number one thing is kind of knowing who we are as a team.
And from going forward from here until the rest of the season, what would you like your team to improve on?
Defense. I think defensively you can always improve. Communication. We don't communicate enough on defense. I mean, we're hustling, but because we're not communicating, it's making us slower, and it's making a lot of times too many guys not switching when we're supposed to switch. Guys not getting back. Two guys guarding one man and not recognizing it. So for us to get better, we got to get better with communication. I think we communicate, we get better.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Yes.
Coach Hardaway, thank you very much for your time this morning. Good luck on Saturday, and we will talk to you in February.